So in seeking to understand what sex addiction might be, it's like any addiction. It's a behavior that is compulsive and is out of control, and in fact is completely controlling you. What it's not is an excuse for bad behavior, so someone having multiple affairs, for example, or sexually assaulting other people because they just can't help what they're doing. And it's also not about morals here. If you're someone who has loads of sex, really enjoys it, fantastic, why not, if it's not hurting you or anybody else. But in sex addiction or compulsive sexual behaviors, you're talking about doing things that are escalating, that are starting to clash with the values that you might have. So, for example, somebody might be on multiple chat rooms, they might be visiting sex workers, excessive masturbation or watching porn, possibly including fetishes and paraphilias. And that's where the problem starts to come in then for some people. So the looking at, if it's a compulsive behavior, it's about damaging you in some way. So what might that look like for you? So for example, it might be impacting your relationships. You might be in a fabulous relationship with somebody you love very much, but you're noticing that your libido is very low. You might be struggling with impotence or erectile dysfunction, or finding when you are having sex that you cannot orgasm unless you are watching porn or masturbating as well. That's going to lead to lots of problems in any relationship, and arguments and depression and anxiety, performance anxiety. It might be impacting you at work. So for instance, you might be planning a business trip, but around the business trip you need to find a way to hook up with somebody. Or you might be at work and instead of doing the work you need to do, you're looking at images online. It might start to impact you socially. So things you used to enjoy doing, going out with mates or playing sport, you might lose motivation to do that. You might not want to go out because you're wanting to act out instead. What is this like? It's eventually so damaging to your health and who you are as a person. And why is that? You're going to be so stressed and so anxious. You're going to probably be exhausted because it takes so much time and energy to try and plan out what you're doing and to be secretive. You have to be a pretty good compulsive liar because you have to cover up what you're doing. And that's the thing, the terror of it, of being found out. So what if work finds out? You could lose your job. What if your friends find out? That would be so embarrassing. And worst of all, if your family find out, you stand to lose everything. And that's why this becomes such an awful cycle to be caught up in. What cycle? So why are you doing this? So all those feelings that I've just mentioned, feeling stressed, anxious, angry. You've just had an argument with somebody. Your boss is on your back. A friend's let you down. You might be feeling anxious, sad, lonely, bored. Like an alcoholic reaches for a vodka bottle to anesthetize very painful, difficult emotions. So if you have as a default sexually acting out, that's what you're going to do to temporarily escape really rotten feelings, rubbish feelings in your head. The problem is you act to anesthetize those feelings. You then have that moment of euphoria, that felt good. But with the addict, it's followed by shame, remorse, regret, frustration. I'm not doing this again. But then, of course, you might be dormant for a while, but then those same feelings are going to rise up again, and so you might act out again. So it's not about, I need to reduce my stress so I don't act out. it means you're always going to have stress, but you need to find other ways to respond to these really difficult feelings. So that imprisoning cycle that you have is about breaking that and trying to find alternative ways of coping with those feelings. That can only be done with support, specialist support, and if you have a sense of being very determined and committed to this process of recovery, then with that specialist support, it is very definitely possible to break the cycle of sexual addiction.